Hello friends, the title of this video is the dream of any aquarium owner. A tank that cleans itself. The effort required to keep an aquarium healthy is probably the largest cost of an owner. However, we will still try to ensure the best environment but using the least effort. When we speak of a tank or aquarium where water moves around in a closed system, it recirculates and does not renew constantly, there can be bigger issues than those one finds in a system where water comes in at one end and goes out at the other, like in traditional fish farming on land or in floating net cages as those we find in the sea. Although none of these systems is free of problems, the fact water is not replaced by new water in a RAS system, issues accumulate and grow day after day. This will force you to pinpoint the problems and carry out maintenance if the issue can damage your fish, shrimp or turtles. Each species has its own requirements, and we must know them to respect them, how important they are, and we must be able to measure them and know how to keep them within the required boundaries. There is extensive information about fish and shrimp, their requirements and handling, a mixture of scientific studies and experience of amateur fish breeders, going back for thousands of years. Regarding water turtles, there is less information. However, we have reasons to believe their skin is hardier than that of fish and shrimp. But their main issue is they can cause imbalances much easier because they are dirtier and more destructive. In any case, even if they all are very different in behavior and requirements, we can apply the same methods, strategies and tools to give them a healthy environment. In this video I will describe the issues that can build up in a recirculating system and the methods we can use to keep these problems at bay. As explaining each one of these methods and how to use the tools can take quite a bit of time, this video is only an overview where I will explain why these issues occur and how they can affect our fish, shrimp or turtles. In other videos I'll explain in detail the methods and tools we can use to correct these problems. Now let's go to see the video. In a tank or aquarium with recirculating water, fish, shrimp, turtles and other living beings have to cope with a chemical soup created by all the processes that go on in there. In a closed system, this soup builds up day after day and can become the cause of death of our pets if we aren't able to manage it correctly. What is each one of these elements in the soup? The oxygen in the water. Many invertebrates like burrowing crayfish and snails can tolerate low oxygen in water. And turtles that don't breathe in water have no issue with this. However, the amount of oxygen in the water can become critical for some species, especially fish and shrimp. Furthermore, not only our targeted pets use the oxygen in the water. It is also required by other inhabitants like beneficial bacteria and the plants themselves. Additionally, we can lose dissolved oxygen through unwanted processes like the breakdown of an excess of organic matter. We also have physical factors involved in the absorption or loss of oxygen, like temperature, turbidity, salinity, luminosity, and flow rate. To ensure we have enough oxygen, according to the needs of our aquarium and its inhabitants, we have a variety of tools like air pumps, waterfalls, splash features, paddle wheel aerators, etc. And procedures like detritus removal, good lighting and cleaning pipes. These procedures and tools shall be examined in another video. Toxic or dangerous chemical buildup. Other elements in the chemical soup are those products arising from the breakdown of urine, feces, food leftovers, dead plants and external pollutants like dust, flies, rocks and substrates. Some of these are carbohydrates, fat, lignin, alcohols, organic acids, which are transformed by bacteria and fungi into energy and proteins for their own growth, but leave in the water what they don't use. This waste includes different forms of nitrogen, phosphate, potassium, sulfur, calcium, magnesium, carbon dioxide, methane and other minor elements. Among these, the most important element is nitrogen in its ammoniacal form. Ammonia is the first byproduct of decomposition in aerobic conditions in the well-aerated parts of the aquarium. This ammonia becomes ammonium in the presence of water, and with the help of nitrifying bacteria like Nitrosomonas and Nitrobacter, it converts to nitrite and later to nitrate. Another bacteria called Nitrospida, capable of converting ammonia to nitrate directly, has been found in the biofilter. Ammonia, ammonium and nitrites are highly toxic for fish and shrimp and are detrimental for turtles. The process for controlling these compounds in the aquarium is called cycling, and we'll see it in detail in another video. Nitrates, although they are not toxic, if they accumulate excessively, they can have impact on the health of our pets, so we must adopt procedures to remove them from the water. In another video, I'll describe known methods for nitrate removal. Nitrogen is the most important element in this soup. However, the other elements can accumulate also, becoming critical for fish. Phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, calcium, etc., just like nitrates, are also food for plants. The excess of nitrates and phosphates that come from organic decay are the cause of algal blooms, an unpleasant green soup that, however, is useful for plankton feeders. But for other organisms, they can be a problem. As the byproducts of organic decay in an aquarium never occur in the proportions plants need, we will always have excesses and deficiencies, and these are more evident when we have more inhabitants than what our system can support. This is one of the main causes why we can't achieve a balance in a closed system like an aquarium. Is there a system where we can maximize both plants and fish? Yes, it's called aquaponics, but its design is very different to that of an aquarium. In particular, its ornamental function, and it's not free of maintenance and controls. In an aquarium, the chemical elements, while they increase their concentration due to accumulation and evaporation, or because they come in the water, can create problems like pH increase, hardness, and alkalinity. Hardness and alkalinity tests are useful for measuring the amount of total dissolved salts and the amount of carbonate salts in the water, factors affecting the growth of plants and can affect some fish. Other tests let us verify the presence and amount of other necessary elements for plant growth, and it is not possible to explain how useful they are in a few lines. In freshwater aquariums, salinity is no more than 1% the salinity of seawater, and changes are so small they can't be measured with a salinity test. On the other hand, in saltwater and brackish water aquariums, this test is important because fish can find their osmoregulation affected and their lives threatened with changes in salinity. In this series of videos, I won't examine saltwater aquariums. However, people who rear water turtles must know that Trichemis scripta elegans is capable of tolerating a salinity of 25 parts per thousand for up to 90 days and less with higher salinities. This may allow them to cross brackish waters but not establish a permanent home. In fact, their ability to endure thermal, chemical, organic and radioactive pollution exceeds that of other vertebrates. And maybe ninja turtles aren't a myth. Finally, One of the elements most concerning for newbies is chlorine. Chlorine comes in drinking water in different concentrations depending on the supplier. In fact, the water source, either potable, spring, stream or well, treated or not, can vary significantly in its content of minerals, organic matter, pathogens, oxygen and pH. So our first duty is to find out the conditions of our source water, testing the water. Potable water must abide to standards so we can trust that most elements are within the allowed limits, even if occasionally there can be some excess. However, chlorine, with a standard that may be okay for humans, can destroy all the organisms in an aquarium. Regarding fish and shrimp, it damages their breathing structures irreversibly, suffocating them to death. Turtles can suffer conjunctivitis and go blind. Beneficial bacteria can be completely destroyed, ceasing nitrification and causing an increase in the toxicity of the environment for fish, shrimp and turtles. Drinking water can have about 200 milligrams per liter of free chlorine, up to maximum of 400 milligrams per liter depending on the standard. These values exceed many times the lethal values established in the literature, from 0.006 to 0.1 milligram per liter, for many test animals from invertebrates to fish. For these reasons, residual chlorine should be removed from potable water. There are many tools for this, and I will examine these in another video. There are two topics I have not considered here: lighting and substrates. These are topics of interest in aquascaping, a topic I am not very familiar with. Additionally, these are topics of very little interest for rearing turtles, and although you might be surprised, not advisable. And I'll talk about that in another video. Okay, I have described most of the chemical factors that might affect organisms in an aquarium or in a recirculating aquaculture system. Now I invite you to see my other videos I will be uploading soon, where I will be describing the tools and procedures we can use to manage these factors so that they don't affect the well-being of our fish, shrimp and turtles. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so now. And don't forget to click on the bell so you're notified of new videos. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Hay dos temas que he evadido intencionalmente: la iluminación y los sustratos. En principio, estos no son temas de interés para la crianza de tortugas de agua. Incluso son indeseables. Y de esto hablaré en otro video. Pero no quiero adelantar detalles de eso ahora. Bien, he descrito la gran mayoría de factores químicos que pueden afectar a los organismos en un acuario o sistema recirculante. Ahora los invito a ver los videos que voy a subir pronto, donde voy a explicar las técnicas y métodos para manejar estos factores y así proteger a nuestras tortugas, peces o camarones. Si aún no te has suscrito al canal, puedes hacerlo ahora y no olvides hacer clic en la campana para ser notificado de esos videos que voy a subir luego. Y si te gustó el video, por favor acuérdate de darle un me gusta y compártelo con tus compañeros, amigos. Y gracias por ver el video. Chao, chao.